to see, this particular model was given by Nelson in 22. I'm sorry, I'm going to take you a little bit into the theory aspect of this. Now, this has the first aspect is the data. Now, basically, it has four aspects. That is the data, the information, the knowledge, and the wisdom. Now, talking about the data, which is also called as the data element, and this data, we get it through the electronic health record. There is sufficient data there. Now, this data is, we can feed this data through the monitoring devices, the sensors, as well as the mobile health applications. Now, information. Now, information is that how we understand the fact or the data within the context in a structured way. Now here you will see that it's now there was already the data was existing. Now this data we have to have the information fed to this. Now there's a very good example elaborated here. There is a group of blood pressure reading that are organized in the temporal fashion alongside other symptoms data elements in a way that this supports interpreting the significance of the reading in an example of information. That means in the information, you feed the normal range of data. That is, if you talk about the blood pressure, what is the normal range of blood pressure? So when you talk about the knowledge, here what will happen is this will tell you, that means this is the way it will formalize the relationship between the data as well as the information. That means it will help us to understand what is the aspects. That means if you have a low blood pressure or high blood pressure, so it will tell you that this particular patient is at high risk. So this information comes through the knowledge that we are going to input it with. Now talking about the wisdom. Now wisdom is the application of data, information and knowledge which will help us to make decision as well as implement the nursing action and improve the healthcare processes. Now, wisdom is also connected to the ability in order to integrate the data and apply it to the human problems. So here what will happen is we will take the help of the cultural aspects, and here if we are trying to say that the patient who has got a high blood pressure has to go on a salt restricted diet, so here this will emphasize. So there will be a wisdom information provided. So, and if you see that this is all interrelated to one another, that means the data, the information, the knowledge, as well as the wisdom is interwoven to one another. Now here when we talk about analytics, what is analytics? As we know, it's a computer science, like your maths, your statistics, and your machine learning, which gives you a meaningful pattern to your data. Now, when we talk about analytics in relation to health, here we are going to talk about the four aspects. One is your descriptive analytic, then is your diagnostic analytic, and is your predictive and your prescriptive analytics. Now, this prescriptive analytics is still in the infancy phase. We haven't reached up to there. But talking about the descriptive analysis, now this is the most basic form of analytics, and it is the way to explain what is happening within the data. Now, it is very beneficial in order to explore the data. Now, this type of analysis would be more comprehensive, and this would actually focus it would focus and describe the real time. Now, talking about the diagnostic analytics. Now, diagnostic analytics is the next step further down. Why a particular thing has happened within the data that is collected. Now, moreover, this will help us to identify what is needed, and the confounding informations will be isolated from the information that is actually needed. Now, with the health data symptoms, that is your symptom data, your patient history data, we are able to generate the diagnosis of the patient. Now, talking about the predictive analytics. Now, predictive analytics is therefore used for the forecasting of what is likely to happen. That means looking at the historical pattern of the data, we are able to predict about the patient. So that gives you a predicted outcome, and this will help the clinician to make the decision on what treatment modalities has to proceed. Now, prescriptive analytic is still not come. Otherwise, it would be the AI who will prescribe also the medications for the patients. Now, we all are aware of artificial intelligence. We know it is the umbrella term that is used to call the computer as smarter. And moreover, the artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science, which we already know. And this service basically is a mimic to your human intelligence. Now, these three aspects of AI intelligence was very beautiful dealt about the machine learning, the natural language processing, and the computer vision. So I would not elaborate on this, but just to give an example of the machine learning, we have something, there is the electronic health record, which was prepared by Sinner. Now, what they have done is they have made in their manual or in their system how to predict the HB1AC. So, whenever there is a person who is at a high risk of this HB1AC, this particular system would identify them and give them the warning that they have to get to the nearest health checkup and get their glucose monitored regularly. Apart from this, we already know the natural language processing is nothing but generating the human language. That is, it talks about the human language, how it is translating the human language into the data language. Now, computer vision, we all are aware of this computer vision, and the very common examples of computer vision is your CT angio, your thallium stress test, then you have your MRI, your CT scan, then you have the computerized X-ray that we have in nowadays. So much so, even the treatment modalities are also now at the top end level with the electronic devices. We already know the potential benefits of AI. Now, talking about this robot, he is now the celebrity of today's day, because ever since from the first speaker, we have been hearing about him, and he's the one who has the capacity to lift the patient up to 80 kg in order to shift the patient. Apart from that, the staffing assignment, this also was dealt well, where there is the computer system already there to plan the shift, and based on the number of patients, how many nurses would work on the shift, that is also being given. And document improvement, here again, when you just have to dictate the terms to the AI system, and that would record everything in the clinician language or in the medical language and give you the entire notes for writing the document. Apart from this, we have the patient generated health data. Here, just with the Face ID, the patient's entire data will be there in the system. And yes, we do have the system in our Ruby Hall clinic, where the patient comes at the OPD and just has to tell his name. So the first date of admission, where OPD, which all OPDs he had been, what his history is, everything gets generated on the system, so that there is no miscommunication or no human error. There's no question of such things to arise. Now, when you talk about the practical guidance for nurses, it is very, very important. Like it is said that you cannot run away from AI, but you have to hold hands with it. And therefore, in the education and training, we must receive additional training in the use of the AI tools, then interpret the AI generated images, and also ensure that the patient's safety and privacy is taken care of. And ethical consideration, we all know the autonomy, the beneficence, the non-maleficence, and the justice, and the rights and the dignity of the patient should be preserved. Now, there are a lot of challenges in the AI, and these challenges are already been spoken about. Now, the first challenge that we're going to talk about is job insecurity. Like many of them think, I remember one of my student asked me that, yeah, I'm going for this particular session. So she asked me, ma'am, when you're going there, please find out, are these robots going to replace us? I said, don't worry, that such things are not going to happen. It's a long way to go for them to take our place. Like said by our eminent speakers, that empathy, human touch, all this still rest with us. Moreover, critical thinking and your problem solving and decision making abilities are again the power in the nurse's hand. So we will definitely not let it replace us, but augmented the we will do the augmentation intelligence, that is walking hand with the artificial intelligence. Next is the trust. as a nurse, it is very important for us to trust the device also, because it is when you're giving a treatment, you cannot just blindly give away the treatment. You need to check. The system will definitely give you what treatment is there, what diagnosis is there, but with your critical thinking ability, you need to be sure about it before you proceed with the care that is to be given. And talking about the diversity, equity, and inclusion, that was very well spoken by Madam Nagalakshmi. So I would not touch this aspect because she spoke about the data that is already fed and the diversity of the population, the age, the gender, as well as their ethnic values, all that, in what way it is fed in the system would also be of great importance. And lastly, to conclude, the transition from the artificial intelligence to augmented intelligence represents a paradigm shift in nursing practice that would emphasize collaboration between human and machine, and whereby they will emphasize or enhance the decision making and ultimately improve the patient outcome. Now, here nurses have a very critical role to play in shaping the future of the augmented intelligence in healthcare, advocating for the responsible use of the artificial intelligence technology, and ensuring that patient safety and privacy are prioritized. So, by embracing the augmented intelligence, nurses can harness the power of technology to enhance their clinical practice and improve the delivery of patient care. I'm not going to read this because this was already read by in the introductory slide of Colonel Jesse. So I'm not going to talk about this. And thank you very much for your patient listening.